Alright, so today is May 19th and today is actually my birthday. And we're going to be doing a birthday Q&A. I have my notes here and those are all of them. I'm going to be kind of doing some of the shorter answers at the beginning of the video, and then towards the end I'll be doing the longer ones. I'll try and put a time stamp somewhere here up on the screen. Anyways, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so the first question is, how old are you? I am 17 years old. I turned 17 on the day that you guys are watching this. The next question is, what do you enjoy doing during your free time? I do a lot of stuff during my free time. Most of the time it kind of varies between these things. I love researching scripture. I love digging deep into certain theological topics. That's something that I really enjoy doing. I love getting to know God better and getting to read his word. Of course, I do go through seasons where that is not like my favorite thing to do during my free time. I think we all go through those seasons, but I do love getting to do a lot of research on scripture. I love doing hair and makeup. For me personally, when I'm doing my own hair, when I'm doing my own makeup, it's almost very therapeutic for me because my hands just kind of know what to do and they just kind of go to work, and I just love getting to do it. I don't know, I just really enjoy doing that. I also really love getting to hang out with my cousins. My cousins and I are very close. We go on a lot of drives together at night, so that would be another favorite thing that I love to do. I love going on drives. I have my license now, and so I love just getting to drive around town, going the back roads. Loved going driving ever since I was a little kid, and it's always something that's really fun, and I feel like you can make a lot of good memories when you're driving. I also really enjoy hanging out with friends, going out and just hanging out with friends and getting to spend time with them and things like that. The next question is, what is your least favorite birthday activity? So growing up, I never really had birthday activities for my birthday parties, and so I never really have like a least favorite one. If I were to choose one, it would probably be pin the tail on the donkey because it just looks really boring, but it might actually be really fun, but I've never played it, so yeah. And don't get me wrong, like my birthdays were always celebrated. It just was not a long, extensive party. Like I know some people will have parties that's like 12 o'clock like 12 o'clock, so noon, all the way until like 9:30 at night. And my birthday parties would be like an hour to maybe between an hour to 3 hours. It was never super long. The next one is, do you have any animals? Yes, I do. I have two animals. I have a desert tortoise as well as a beagle. Her name is Melody, and then our tortoise is named Wolverine. The next question is there a food you get only on your birthday and no other time of the year? No, not really. We usually just, whoever's birthday it is, they will get to choose where we go out to eat, and usually I pick something I really like sushi a lot. I really like seafood a lot, and so usually I will pick like a seafood restaurant because I really like seafood. I love sushi. The next question is, what was your favorite birthday? I can't remember what year it was. I genuinely cannot remember. If I can find like some footage of that birthday, I know that my mom has some, so I'll try and put it up here. But basically it was a surprise birthday party. Now, if you know me, you know that I absolutely hate surprises. If I know somebody's like, oh, I've got a surprise for you, I absolutely hate it. But I love it if I didn't know that the surprise existed and then I was surprised. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does. Anyways, I really love that birthday because my parents surprised me first off with a surprise party. It wasn't my real birthday quite yet. It was like a couple days prior. My parents had surprised me with taking me to Disneyland that year for my birthday. The next question is, you play guitar, right? Any other instruments? But I have actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't play this regularly, but I have played for a short time the piano, the drums. Oh, and I also played the clarinet. I forgot to mention that. What's your favorite kind of birthday cake? Chocolate or vanilla or something else? I love vanilla cake, vanilla frosting, as well as strawberries on top. I think that answers that question. Where are you currently living? I currently live in California. I'm not going to be giving the town name because it's a very small town and we don't need people finding out where I live. The next one is favorite ways to spend your birthday. I personally really like it just to be me and my family. Why I say me and my family is because usually when I was younger, I used to have like all of my family, not all, but there was a lot of people. My aunt is my neighbor. She has 7 kids, and then my grandma lives next door, and then my aunt lives a little bit out in the countryside of the town I live in. They usually come over, and she has like 3 kids, and so it can get to be kind of just a lot of people, and I really like it to be very small. Favorite childhood memory. My favorite childhood memory, I was just talking to my sister about this because there's so many memories that I have that I love from my childhood. Like, there's just so many that I loved about the way I grew up, my childhood, all of those things. I think, though, I was talking to Alice and I was just like, I don't know which one to say. The first one that always comes to mind, though, when I think of my favorite childhood memory was actually one with my grandfather. And when I was younger, we would go out on a drive before our hayride. We did an annual hayride every year, and my uncle would dress up in this scary costume, and the scary mask would come out and scare us while we were going on this hayride out where he lived. And he had like a ton of property, and we would go out there and we would have a ton of fun. But I specifically always remember, like, I was always one that was super scared of the hayride. I would literally be in between my grandma's legs because I was like scared. I was like this until I was like 8 or 9, until I just like sat up and like actually sat on the hayride. But I would be on the ground of the hayride, just like holding on to my grandma's legs. My grandfather Pop would take me out, and he would drive around the whole property that we would be going on the route for, and he would be looking out for what we call as Bamboo Lily, who would be dressed up, basically my uncle dressed up in a scary costume, but I didn't know that at the time. I actually thought it was like a legitimate person. And I just remember those always being very memorable. I also remember a lot of just drives that I would do with my dad. A lot of driving, I feel like, is always really memorable for me. I don't know. The next one is, why do you love Jesus? I saw this one and I was like trying to think, like, what is one thing that I love about Jesus? I think the better question to ask is, why did Jesus love me? Yeah, that might not be the answer that you were looking for, but that's okay. Plans beyond high school, no pressure, just curious. So I think the first thing that I want to go ahead and say is that I can make my plans, I can make my dreams up, I can make my goals up for the future, but in reality, the Lord will direct my steps in whatever decision that I decide to make. Right now, I am going to be pursuing cosmetology. I was really torn between going the like biblical studies and majoring in theology kind of route and like going to school for that, and getting like a communications degree to further YouTube and things like that, or do I go the cosmetology route? I decided to go the cosmetology route. At the same time, possibly I might do some biblical study classes or something on the side. I'm not too sure, but I do think that getting my cosmetology license is very important to me. But the thing about all of this is that I have my hands open for God to change whatever it is he'd like to change. I heard this analogy a while back, and I think it's so important in our Christian walk. So we can walk around with our hands closed tight to the things that we want to get somewhere in life. You know, we can clench onto those things, you know, grit our teeth through those things, and this is my life, I'm going to do whatever I want with it. Or we can walk in the hands position of this. And this is what I've been learning lately. It's really hard because God's been taking some things out of my life that I didn't really want him to take out of my life. And he's been putting things into my life which are really good and I really love. And anyways, long story short, this is kind of where my plans are at. They're sitting under the palm of my hands. He has the ability to take them out, put them back, throw them away, do whatever it is he wants with them. My hands will stay like this, and whatever he wants me to do, I will do. Wherever he wants me to go, I will go. My whole goal in life is to follow after him, so whatever it is that he wants me to do, I am going to do it. And that is that for my plans. Yes, I'm going to be going on the cosmetology route, but if God wants to take that plans and throw it out the window and have me go down a different path, I'm 100% open to that. That's kind of just my thoughts on plans. This next one I've been thinking about quite a bit and trying to figure out how I was going to say this. But anyways, this next question is, you've talked before about things to have in mind when looking for a godly spouse. So do you have any? I do have some. I decided that there are some things that I want to be looking for a husband that I don't want my husband knowing. What happens? I don't know. What happens if the person that I'm going to marry ends up watching this video, sees what I'm going to say? You know what I'm saying? I am going to say that the biggest thing, though, that other people can be looking for in a future spouse, which is the number one thing, the biggest thing, the non-negotiable, the biggest thing, is that they pursue God before they pursue you. If this man is going to end up leading me for the rest of my life, and if this is going to be, not that he is God, but that God has placed this position on him that he is going to lead me in our marriage, he better be following God. And I'm not saying that I'm expecting a perfect man at all, because I'm a sinful woman, and so he's going to be a sinful man, and we're going to both be sinful. But it is a big deal if he is following after God. Like, that is the biggest thing. If he is pursuing after Christ and following wherever Christ wants him to lead, because my life is surrendered to God's. God is leading me, and if this man is not doing the exact same thing, our marriage ain't gonna work. That's my biggest thing when it comes to a spouse. I definitely have others that I'm not going to share. I don't really want to share every single thing here on YouTube. That's just my personal opinion and thoughts. But anyways, moving on. Thoughts on adoption. Would you consider adopting yourself? I could film a whole entire video talking about my thoughts on adoption. I think, in my opinion, but to me, I love kids. I really would love to adopt kids. I pray that God would give me the opportunity to be able to adopt a child, and that he would be at work in that area. That's something that's really important to me, is adopting children. Like, really important to me. And of course, God can lead me in whatever direction that he wants. Even if I didn't get married, adoption would still be on that kind of, not that list in my mind, but something that I really have a heart for. Like, really. Even if I don't get married, it's just something that's so passionate on my heart for. Because the thing about, to me, is this is the kind of the lens that I look through when it comes to talking about abortion and things like that. And I really don't want to have a whole argument thingy down in the comments about this, but to me, my thoughts when it comes to abortion, I don't agree with abortion at all. But I also see a church who I don't see very much adoption happening within the church. And it scares me, because it's like, we're so against, like, don't have an abortion. There's other ways. You can put your kids in foster care. But yet the church, I don't see the church taking in those kids. Like, yes, there are definitely lovely people out there who I have seen adopt children. And I think if we're going to be against abortion, we have to be full on board for adoption. I think if we think about it this way, if one or two people from every single church in the country adopted a child, I see so much, like, of the poverty in children, like, going down. And, like, if you think about it in this sense of, like, God's adopted us into his family, why don't we adopt other children into ours? I don't know. My thoughts on adoption go like everywhere. Like, I feel very strongly about adoption. That's my thoughts on adoption. I don't know if you guys probably, I don't know if you guys can see my heart in that. I think it's so necessary that we do adopt children, and my heart is huge for that, whether I'm married or not. I just pray that God, I pray for, if there's a child out there that's not born yet, I pray for the mother of the child that God could possibly bring into my life. I can't say enough about it. Adoption's very heavy on my heart. Very heavy. Do you look at your birthday differently than before your walk with Christ? To be honest, I never thought about it really until she told me about it. I didn't really think about it. I think, like, there may have been another time that I had thought about it, but yeah, I don't really think very much about it. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. But yeah, now that she says it though, this year I think I probably will view it different now that it's been brought up. Next question, where do you see yourself in 10 years? 10 years, I will be 27. I don't really know. Like, kind of goes back to the other question about having plans. I don't know. I have a lot of dreams of what could be happening. I have dreams of being a parent. Heck, Does that sound crazy? Like, I could be a parent in 10 years? Like, that just blows my mind away. I'll almost be 30. I could be a parent. It's crazy. Like, literally crazy. I don't really know what I'm going to be doing in 10 years. But what I do know is that I think I'll know God on a deeper level. I see myself being so much more in love with God. I see myself being so much more devoted to Him. I see myself learning new things about Him and getting to know Him better. And yeah, that's probably where I see myself in 10 years. Do I have dreams too? Yes. Would I love to be a mother by then? Yes. Would I love to be married by then? Yes. Would I love to have adopted by then? Yes. But God directs my steps. He directs every single part of my life. So I don't know. We'll see where we are. If you could go back 5 years and tell yourself one thing, what would that be? Okay, 5 years ago, I found it really bizarre about this question because 5 years ago was when I was in 7th grade. That was the year that I was homeschooled. That was the year of a lot of hard stuff. So if I could go back and tell myself one thing, there's so many things I would go back and tell my younger self. So I would have been in like 7th or 8th grade. And so if you are a 7th or 8th grade out there, just lean in and listen. I think the biggest thing that I would have told myself back then was that what would I tell myself? I think that the biggest thing that I would go back and tell myself is you are loved. And not because of anything that you've done, but because of what He's already done for you. I would have gone back and told myself, yeah, I think that's what I would have done. I would have told myself you are loved. During that time, I didn't trust any boy my age. I didn't trust any boy around my age. I thought they were all cruel. I thought they were all like complete and total jerks. Wasn't willing to trust anybody. And I would probably tell myself, yeah, you are loved. This is the last question for this video, and that is, off the top of your head, what was one distinctive moment in your life where you just knew that God was real and present in your life and you wanted to follow Him? I think it was the year of 2017, I believe. I can't remember the exact year, but it was when I just saw God's love for me and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to serve Him and do whatever it took to serve Him. I wanted to follow wherever it was that He was leading. I was at camp and we were listening to this song and I was really in a hurt place. I was hurt by people from school. I was hurt because I still hadn't gotten over my grandfather's passing. My grandfather had passed away 2 years prior, and I was just in a lot of hurt. And I remember blaming God for a lot of those bad things in my life. And in that moment, I was just overwhelmed by the love He had for me through the message that was taught. In that moment, He became so real in the sense that, like, you are my father. I am your daughter. Like, in that close communion, I guess you could say. And I wanted to do whatever it was. I wanted to learn Him. I wanted to learn more about Him. I wanted to get to know Him better. I wanted to follow Him to the ends of the earth. I wanted to follow Him anywhere that He wanted to lead. And ever since then, that's been my heart, and that's where I've been at. And whatever trials that happen does not take away the goodness of God. Like, even if it is a hard time in my life, God is still good even during that time. So I think that's one of the biggest moments in my life where I just knew that God had loved me and wanted me to be a part of His family. Alrighty, so that is the last question, and my dog is barking, so I gotta go get her up from her nap. And this has been a really long video, and so I'm gonna have to edit it like crazy. But yeah, this is my birthday Q&A. I hope that you guys all enjoyed it. I feel really weird doing Q&As because it's like talking about myself, and it feels really weird to talk about myself. And so I would like to know your guys' answers to any of these questions. So you guys can let me know in the description box. I will put all of the questions in the description box. Comment your answers to the questions down below so that I can also get to know you guys a little bit better. So with that being said, I hope that you guys all have a great week, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Bye guys.